All right, back on the show now is Eryk Anders, who's going to be taking on Kyle Daukaus next on December the 3rd at UFC Orlando. Eryk, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. And yourself?
Fantastic. Nice to have you back on the show. And I'm excited for this fight with Kyle. First, just want to start with how camp has been for you this far at Fight Ready.
Camp is going well, exceptionally well. I came in here a few weeks earlier than I usually do, and my weight's good, my cardio's good, skill development is going great. So yeah, I'm really excited and pumped for this fight.
What's the walk around weight for you nowadays? I know you fought at light heavyweight before. Is it getting more difficult to cut to 85?
Nah, it gets easier. I think the more you do it, like the more you get science involved, and you know, um, I used to just run to get the weight off. Now I hardly run at all. It's really about like diet. Um, what do you call it? Just as like manage my weight. I eat like a bunch of small little meals a day rather than like two or three big meals, and I think it like keeps your metabolism higher, makes you able to put out more in training. So yeah, the weight cuts have gotten much easier for me.
That's fantastic. Who have been the main training partners for you this camp? Anyone new, or has it been pretty much the same guys as usual?
Yeah, pretty much the same guys as usual. Austin Clifford, Ray Waters. Brought a guy out here from my gym back home in Alabama, Darius McGinnis, who's getting ready to make his pro debut here pretty soon. Pretty solid southpaw. So if you ain't heard of him yet, you'll hear about him here in the near future.
Very good. And I know you were at another camp down in Texas a while back. How long have you been in Arizona now?
I've been in Arizona. I've been training here like the last 2 years. About two and a half years. But like in between fights, like I stop and go to other camps and see how they train, and work with some of the guys there, and everybody's been pretty cool.
Okay, I saw you on the Joe Rogan Experience fairly recently, which that's very cool. What was that whole experience like? I have to imagine it something that you can look back on, even down the line when you're old and gray, and just kind of smile about.
I'm already old and gray, and yeah, he's cool, man. Number one podcast in the world, so it's an awesome experience. Joe's a great guy, super knowledgeable, and really fun to talk to. So yeah, had a great time, and it was awesome.
How did that all come about? Obviously, I mean, he's interviewed you inside the cage after wins before, but how did that present itself for you to go on the show?
To be honest, I just started kind of talking to him. We started chatting about DMT, and just kind of went down a rabbit hole with them, and just hey, come on the show, let's talk about that.
Very good. And I saw you said on the show that you were sparring Francis Ngannou. Can you dive into that a little bit? What was that whole experience like getting in there with that monster?
Yeah, that was exactly how I said it. There's not a lot of big guys. I think every gym uh, across the MMA landscape, big guys are hard to find. There's just not a lot of them in general. That's why I like the 45, 55 division are so deep, because there's a lot of guys that size. And the heavier divisions are thinner because there's not a lot. Um, so yeah, being one of the guys, bigger guys, they hey, Francis needs a round.
Okay.
Me.
Right.
And yeah, it's just he's very big and strong and explosive, and I didn't want him to do to me what he did to Overeem. So not that he's like malicious, dude. He is a very nice guy. Like, I'm not saying that, but accidents do happen. That's a big guy. That's a lot of mass. So I just chose the lesser of two evils, and I really did think that I could take him down, but man, I grabbed his lead leg and he sprawled and ended up in half guard, and I could not get him off of me.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. So he spent like maybe 4 minutes out of the 5 minutes, just punching my body, and which I thought was way better than my head. So it worked out for me.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, I can't imagine what that is like, but you're right. He's got to get some rounds in too. So good for you to be able to get in there and do that with the UFC heavyweight champ. Having Eryk Anders on the show, we got to talk about some football. Alabama right now, 7-2, they're number 10 in the country. That's not the usual. What's going on with your Crimson Tide?
Man, I think if you look across the entire landscape of college football, like there's a lot of undisciplined play. There's probably more penalties this year than there have been, in the last 5 years combined. I think a lot of undisciplined play, poor tackling, guys not, going for the ball. It's probably it has to do. I think it has to do with that NIL stuff and the transfer portal, because now if you like yell at a kid or whatever, you come down on him hard, he just transferred. So there's not a lot of like accountability held towards the players because they can just leave if they get mad. So I think they're being coddled more. They're being they're being babied more. So like, how can you get them to strive to reach the next level if one, they've already gotten paid? Like some of these kids are getting millions of dollars out of high school. The whole point of going to college was to like make it to the next level so that you could buy your mom a house, so that you could buy your mom a car, so that you could live the life that you want. If you already have that, dude, I'm there. I've made it already. So, why am I going to die for this ball when I could get hurt? When in the past, like, making those impossible catches and plays, that's what got you to be a number one pick or a first round draft pick. But I already got $1 million in my pocket, whatever, So I just think that I think the transfer portal hurts more than anything. Now that there's like no accountability. Oh, not happy. I can just leave. I can go wherever I want, whatever, So yeah, they should probably do away with that.
That makes a lot of sense, and you make a lot of valid points there. One thing's for certain: football, whether it's the NFL or college, it definitely isn't losing any popularity. If anything, it's just gaining more and more steam. When you look at the best teams in the land right now, Georgia's 1, Ohio State's 2, Michigan 3, TCU 4. Who do you feel like is the best of the bunch? Who do you think ultimately is going to win the championship this year?
Out of those four,
Or even throw
yeah,
Alabama in there.
I think it's probably going to be Georgia, Ohio State in the national championship. I think those are just like the most complete and dominant teams. I haven't watched a whole lot of Ohio State, but Georgia's getting it done everywhere. Offense, defense, and special team in all phases of the game. And I think it's just Kirby's time now. Kirby Smart. He kind of sat in that passenger seat with Nick Saban for the longest time, for many years, and now he's got his own squad. Already got him a championship. So I think I think you're starting to see the shift in power change.
Yeah, well, geez, they had a big win over Tennessee this past weekend, so we'll see what's next for the Bulldogs there. Before we dive into your fight with Kyle, I did want to get a couple of fight picks from you. This weekend's a pretty big card, UFC 281. Let's start with that middleweight title fight: Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira. Do you think Pereira is going to be able to do what he did to Izzy in kickboxing, or do you think Izzy retains?
Maybe. At this point, it's hard to bet against Adesanya. He wins. He's a winner. I guess Alex Pereira is too, but he's just got more experience, more 5-round experience. But dude, that kid hits hard, man. He's got to touch him once. I don't know, dude. I'm gonna go Adesanya. I think he's the more intelligent fighter, has more ways to win. But Pereira's only got to be right once.
All right, really intriguing title fight there. A couple other big bouts on the card here. The co-main event: Carla Esparza, Weili Zhang for the title, and then Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler, and what could be a fight of the year candidate right there. Those two guys getting in there and banging. Who do you think wins both of those fights?
I'm gonna go with Carla. I think that she'll be able to get her hands on Weili and put her down. Get her on the ground. Chandler, he don't really wrestle too much, so I think that's his edge against Poirier. But Poirier has shown a lot of resilience, at lightweight, and it's really good boxing, and inside boxing too. So I'm gonna go with Poirier.
Okay, really intriguing about there. If Chandler uses his wrestling, do you think that he could get a win here if he fights a smart game plan and
yeah, absolutely. But I think that Chandler's fighting for entertainment value. I think, yeah, it's cool if he wins, but I really don't think he cares about winning. I think he cares about entertaining, because he could have wrestled Charles Oliveira. He could have wrestled Gaethje a little bit more. He could have wrestled, man. The guy's a really good wrestler, but he's out there trying to put butts in seats and put on entertaining fight. So, that's what he's about.
All right. Well, either way, it's a great card this weekend. UFC 281 at Madison Square Garden. Now, your fight with Kyle Daukaus, UFC Orlando, December 3rd, right around the corner, man. It'll be here before you know it. Daukaus's last fight was actually against Roman Dolidze, and Roman finished him in the first round. Did you take anything from that fight that maybe you can utilize in there against Kyle?
Man, I think the like fights that happen that fast, yes and no. Like Kyle probably not gonna let nobody grab him like that ever again. He'll probably fight a little bit more. It's probably a little bit too comfortable, in that clinch position because wrestling is his comfort zone. I think. I think that I think he's comfortable, striking too, but his bread and butter is definitely grappling. I think he's got 11 wins and 9 of them are Darcy. So,
hey, need some water, some food, something?
All right, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Sure, man?
Yeah.
You gonna be all right?
Yeah, I'm straight.
You need a little money for dinner then?
You just make sure to show up on Wednesday. But, yeah, so, yeah, later.
So, and you guys obviously have a common opponent too, and Brendan Allen. What did you? I'm sure you've watched tape. So, what have you learned from his past fights, from his fighting style, and how do you see this fight going for yourself?
I think that even with I think his scrambling ability is super underrated. Like Brandon's a scrambly guy as well, and he was able to reverse Brendan Allen, and it's a pretty close fight. I think when I remember, I don't really count my fight with Brendan Allen like when I watch Brendan Allen because I don't think Brendan Allen's the same person. I think he's kind of matured a little bit. He's down there training with better people, and he's a much better fighter now than when I fought him. So, that being said, Kyle Daukaus, lost. I can't remember if it was unanimous or a split decision, but I know it was like a jiu-jitsu scrambling kind of fight, and I'm not really looking to engage in that kind of thing. I'm trying to put hands on him, kind of keep him out of his comfort zone.
Where do you feel you are right now in your career, Eryk? You're on a 2-fight skid, which isn't normal for you. I'm used to seeing you get in there, do your thing, get your hand raised. Do you feel extra pressure to get this win and maybe sign a new contract around the corner?
Extra pressure, no, but I do want to win. I want to keep fighting. I don't think I'm done fighting, and I don't want to fight in another organization. So, yeah, it's up to me to go out there and get a win, and I really, really want to take the judges out of the decision factor. So I'm for sure aiming for a finish, and want to go out there and knock them out.
All right. Do you think that you get that done in the first round? What is your ultimate prediction here? What round?
Man, he's pretty strong in the first round, but man, if you watch film, you kind of see him wither and fade a little bit. He accepts bottom a little bit more as the fight goes on, and but he's a Philly kid, dude. Philly doesn't make people; they only make them one way, and that's tough. So, yeah, I don't know. Seen him finish in the first round, so yeah, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I just got to go out there and impose my will, and whenever he's ready, he'll be ready.
Can't wait for this card. When do you actually leave for Orlando? Just the same week, I imagine?
I think the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, yeah.
Okay. All right. And as long as you're healthy, what's the plans for 2023? How many fights are you looking to get? How active do you want to be?
Yeah, I don't know. I got other things going too. So, I think the fighting is always my priority, obviously. So, whenever the phone rings, I drop everything and, get ready.
Eryk, always great talking to you. Happy to have you back on the show. Before we do sign off, want to give you the floor. Tell people where they can follow you on social media. If you've anyone to thank, floor is yours.
Yeah, you guys can get at me Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even only on OnlyFans at Eryk Anders. Yeah, thank you everybody. Tell me to get ready for this fight. It takes a village. So yeah, thank you.